So good morning, everybody. First of all, welcome to everyone here. I told Olivier this time I will not bring slides, and at the last minute I changed my mind, so Olivier is now trying to install them. I will only show two because I thought maybe it was a good idea to elaborate a little bit more on the way we work in EIT ICT labs, and especially the way we intend to use the instruments we have to support the researchers. As you all know, EIT ICT labs is about this knowledge triangle, where you bring together education, research and business. For education, it's quite straightforward what we are doing. We are building a master school, we are building doctoral training centers. So that is quite easy to explain what a master school is, and it's also quite easy to explain what we add to the existing master school. We remove part of the normal education, the technical education, and we replace it by some more business-oriented topics. For business, it's also pretty easy to explain what we are doing. We are trying to get money for startups, we are trying to create new startups, and so on. And then the question is, what is the role of research in EIT ICT labs? And how does that fit in? Because the way we address research in EIT ICT labs is different from the way research is addressed in framework projects like you, for example, do in FP7 or whatever. And one very striking difference, for example, is that those programs do support PhD positions. And that's something we do not do. So that makes it immediately different. And I want to explain a little bit how we work with that. Is there an overview thing? Because this is the... no, it will... This is the picture that I would like to show to you. My first question is, who has seen this picture before? So it was probably not such a bad idea to show it then here, because this is the way EIT ICT Labs works. We work with a model which we call the catalyst carrier model. So on the one hand, we have carriers, and that is where we build on. That is what we take as a starting point, and on top of those carriers, we put so-called catalysts, and those catalysts are intended to boost the performance of the carriers. And that also has to do with the funding, which you see at the bottom. So we, on an annual basis, get money from the EIT. And that's a grant that is given to EIT ICT Labs and that we can spend to our own thinking. So that is money that we control, and the spending we control as a partnership. Yeah? For this year, we got 27 million euros. Next year, most likely, we will get something between 35 and 40 million euros. And it is supposed to go up to a level of 70, 80 million euros on an annual basis. That's the money we get on the left side. Then, we get only that money if on the right side, the partnership puts additional money on the table. And for every euro we get from Brussels, we need to put on the table 3 more from our own side. And those 3 euros can come from different sources. It can be either direct contributions of the partners that are in EIT ICT Labs, and that can also be in-kind contribution. So if you have a PhD project, you can bring it in as a carrier, and we value it in terms of euros, and that means that there is money available to do additional add-on things, which I will show in a minute. Other sources may be national projects. You can have national funding from national projects here in France, Le Grand Emprunt, and you can take those projects as carrier projects to build on. And then the third category is European projects. If you are participating in a European project, you can put that on the table, and we can make a value out of that, of the contribution of our partners in that project, and we can put additional money on the table. So that's how the game is played. And just to show a little bit of an example how this then works, is that if you look at this picture, this is what we are doing in education. So what we are doing in education, we take an existing master program, that's a technical major. It's service design engineering here. It's an existing technical course, it's a master course of 2 years. What we do, we cut out 25%, and what we develop in EIT ICT labs is so-called innovation and entrepreneurship modules. Those are the catalysts. We pay those green modules with the money from ICT, from EIT, and the blue one was the carrier that is already installed in the universities and is an investment. And by gluing those two things together, we get an integrated master program that is then delivering the kind of students that not only have a very strong technical background, but also have knowledge about IP, business models, innovation funnels, investment landscapes, regulation, you name it. All kind of things very relevant when setting up a company. In the research domain, it may look like this. You have an existing research project, and I understand there's a lot of people here that are either doing their PhD, starting it, finishing, whatever. How many people in the room have 10 scientific publications in their name? Okay. How many have 5 patents in their name? See the point? So what you see in Europe is that there is a strong emphasis on publishing in scientific journals, which is good and which we should do. At the same time, we see, if you compare to the US, that we pay far less attention to also in parallel making sure we patent our knowledge so that we can build business out of it. So the patent booster is a tool that we put on the table, and we pay a patent engineer that can look at your PhD project, can do an IP landscape to make sure you do not go into directions where everybody already made inventions. And that can also help you to look for options to create patents and even write the patent for you. And we put the money on the table to do that. And then you bring in your PhD project as a carrier, and we bring in the money for the patent engineer to make sure that rather than just scientific papers, also patents come out and average at this speed. Now I did something stupid. I want to go on to another slide. The catalyst set. So I hope this gives a little bit of a feeling of how ICT Labs works and how you can use your existing research as a carrier to build additional catalyst activities. And I'm now looking for the set. You have to go down quite a bit. No, further down. Yeah, it's okay. I will walk down through the other set. No, it's down in Marty's part. So the last thing I wanted to show is this part. What we put on the table is a menu card. And this menu card has a whole collection of those catalysts that I showed to you. And what you can now do is you can bring in a carrier project, your own research project, and you can look at that menu and say, hey, what are the kind of things that I would like to add to my project in order to make it more successful in the market? And you may say, well, I would be really keen on having my results brought to the open source community. Yeah? And we will support you in doing that. So what you then do is you pick the open source booster and you apply to your project. That means that you get support from us to publish your results in an open source setting. And we will help you to make it that there is take up in the open source community. You may also say, I want to do some real experience with real end users of my prototypes that I develop. Well, we have experience and living labs available, and we can help you doing your experiments with end users, and we will make the equipment available, we will make support people available. If you now see what we did, after the experiences we had in the first 2 years, we removed a number of catalysts and we updated a number of them. And we also came with a number of new catalysts for 2013. So what you see, what we are doing in the organization is, this is our toolbox. And what we want to do is to make sure we have the right toolbox to support the education, the research and the business development within our organization. And what we need from you is feedback. We need feedback. What do you need on top of the research you get already funded by the regular programs to make sure that your results make it to the market? And I hope also that in the discussions we have today, we get that feedback from you, that you say, hey, this is something that I always have an issue. Something very concrete also is, for example, EIT ICT Labs is a community. We should use the strength of that community and the fact that we learn to know each other more and more to successfully apply for new projects in the framework programs in Europe, for example. It is very fast the way we can react. We had a very concrete example for Marie Curie, and there were a number of scholarships and relationships with non-European universities, and actually it got a little bit stuck between the partners because not the right people were involved. Then it was escalated to the level of ICT Labs. It came on my desk, and in 2 days we connected the right partners and we submitted the proposal. So we can very effectively work in our organization to connect the right people and to be very... And also, we can also participate as a partner in those proposals. And actually this Friday we have a workshop with the Commission to see how we can really align our activities with theirs. So that really try to benefit from that. A new one that was put on the table is entrepreneurial research. Entrepreneurial research is about the following issue. You have a research project, you deliver a very nice prototype, but this prototype needs some additional development to really have it taken up by industry or to have it as a basis for a startup. If that gap is existing, we have this tool for you available. We developed this one on discussions we had, and people told us there is a real need for this. What's important for us, of course, is that there's also a clear indication of where the result will land. It's nice to build a prototype a little bit further, but of course it's also important who will take it up. So keep that in mind when using that. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I hope we will have a very interactive day. I'm very much looking forward to the presentations, and the speakers are all speakers that have an excellent reputation in research, and at the same time are entrepreneurs that really made sure that they do not only publish their research in scientific papers, but they also work on creating companies from their work and making sure that in the end, in Europe, we will also create jobs, because that's something we desperately need. Olivier, thanks a lot.